Es ist eine lange Regime, jeden Buddhisten. Seit wissen, als der erste Mensch zu werden ein Buddhist in Amerika, auf wie viel wir wissen, ist gewesen jeder junger Mann, Charles Strauss, geschmackt geworden in 1893 beim Kongress von Weltreligions in Chicago. Zwischen die jeden Artisten sind euch gewesen solche populäre Namen wie Leonard Cohen und Allen Ginsberg, Goldie Hawn, Steven Seagal und Robert Downey Jr. Buddhism stammt, wie bekannt, von Indien. Aber hat sich verspreit und eingewurzelt überhaupt in Misrach-Asien, die Mahayana-Schiite in Zofen Misrach-Asien und die Theravada in Dorem Misrach. Es ist klar, dass die Strömen, was haben verhabt Menschen in Meirev, eingerechnet die Jiden, sind in Zen, koidem Kol von China und später entwickelt geworden in Japan, und auch die tibetische Schiite, berühmt geworden nur noch in die 60er und 70er Jahren. Gewesen ein Lama von Tibet, was hat bemerkt, dass Rov von seinen Chassidim sind Jiden, hat gesagt, als da steht ein Oiwei-Schiite von Buddhism. Und jetzt, schon nicht kein Witz, ein paar Lamas sind geborene Jiden, wie Surya Das, was ist geboren in New York mit dem Namen Jeff Miller. Und hört sich zu dem Auftu von Jiden in die Zweigen und Bewegungen von Buddhism in Amerika. Anführer von dem berühmten San Francisco Zen Center, Gründer von Shambhala Bücher, der größte Verlag von Dharma Bücher in Zofen Amerika. 4 Menschen, die haben bekannt gemacht, dem Amerikaner Oilem mit der Schiite Vipanassa. Leute, die berichten, gehören zwischen 6 oder 30% von Buddhisten in Amerika zu Jiden. Wir stellen vor, nur 2% von der allgemeinen Bevölkerung. Viele Israelim, mit David Ben-Gurion Berosh, sind euch gewesen ein bisschen mehr wie Matzkers in Buddhism.
I was born in 52nd Street in Borough Park between 13th and 14th, and my grandfather was my grandfather. We all lived in one big house, and my grandfather and grandmother very, very Hasidic, very beyond religious. We went to Shomer Mona Shul, and I was put into Shalamis Yeshiva, which was a girls' yeshiva. It was the very first girls' yeshiva so many years ago, and loved it. I don't consider myself a Buddhist at all. I consider Zen a practice, not a religion. The very first teacher that I met and taught, who I studied with, emphasized that. That was his orientation very strongly. But how did I come to find it? It was very mysterious, really. I was very lost at a certain point, around 14, 15, like that. After I'd been taken out of yeshiva, and it was like living in a different world. And I was praying for guidance and for help and praying. And I was a sophomore then in public school, in high school. And my teacher said to me, I have a gift for you, but don't tell anybody. It's wrapped in a brown paper bag. I said, okay, what is this? He said, go home and read it. I said, okay. That was years and years ago. I went home and it was a book on Zen by D.T. Suzuki. I had no idea what that was. No one did it those days. I opened up the book and it was like, wow. It hit home. I felt such joy. I felt recognition. I said, wow. And I was just filled with like some kind of comprehension, although people would say, well, what does it mean? All these koans, all these stories. I said, well, I don't know what it means, but I know that it's right. When people want what they say, a real practice down to the core, very sadly, there's been in my view, many misunderstandings about Torah, and that it has caused seeking Jews to see a lot of anger in the shuls, a lot of harm, a lot of judgment of others, a lot of prejudice. They don't want that. They don't feel that's not true to Torah. They don't feel that's a true Torah environment, and they're pushed away. So many have said to me, this happened in a shul, or that happened, I never went back. I heard that story 1,000 times, of people being really hurt, really hurt. So that's another reason and the Zendo is a different environment, very accepting, room to grow, room to be real, and a very deep, deep practice. It's to sit in the deep silence. Of course, there are dangers in the Zendo, tremendous dangers in the Zendo too, as well as there are in shuls. There's no question. But the practice itself is neutral. It's so clear and deep. Like it says in the Torah, the Rebbes of old, they sat for 1 hour. They prayed for 1 hour. And they sat for another hour. It's our practice. It's from the Torah. It's returning. It's returning. It's not going away. Rabbi Nachman, who I love and adore, he speaks all the time about meditation, just all the time. All the time. And of course, one of his meditations, Hitbodedut, which I love very much. You're just speaking to God out loud, under the trees or wherever you can. You know, when you sit on the cushion, in a sense, you're really doing Hitbodedut. I couldn't get over even the connections, because when you do Hitbodedut, you're peeling away layers. You're going deeper and deeper into your core and into your connection with Hashem. And then you sit on the cushion, and first many thoughts come, and then they leave, and then other layers come, and you're making space for Hashem, really. That's how I view it.
Jewish meditation is really taking off around the country. I was one of the founders of the Jewish Meditation Center of Brooklyn, and at that time we were the only satellite. So Isabella Freeman was going on, and then we were sort of the only satellite community. Now, 3 years later, I believe, or maybe even 4 years later, there's one in Chicago, there's one in LA, there's one in Montclair, New Jersey. There's these small local communities kind of taking this practice into their everyday, taking it into their everyday communities. And as you said, it's becoming a part of a lot of synagogues. So my synagogue on the Upper West Side, I am part of one of the teachers of this Jewish meditation that happens on Shabbat. And so people are incorporating it into their Jewish lives in a very rich way. And it's really exciting, because I think it's touching people in a place that I think Judaism really needed to open up to. Culturally, Jews have always been taught to question everything, and so I think a lot of the Buddhist framework is about questioning everything almost until you get down to the root, which is almost that there is nothing there to begin with. And so kind of this relentless questioning is a part of our culture. The second thing is that within the religion of Judaism itself, there are practices that are profoundly mindful. So Shabbat, for instance, is about stopping the endless production of society and just resting in the moment. There's no more mindful day than that, and that's the Jews came up with that one, not the Buddhists. And I understand it because I think I felt it at first too, a strong kind of tension around when you see, for instance, in a Buddhist meditation center, statues of the Buddha and things like that. And I really understand that, and I really respect people who feel that this is not for them and are worried about these practices. I do want to say that I'm not worried. And the reason is because Judaism historically has always been a breathing, living religion that everywhere, at every turn that it has taken, has kind of like done a little bit of a dance with the culture that it was in, preserving, the roots, but taking and breathing with the culture.
Zum letzten Wort lass mich nur bewundern noch einmal, wie weit und breit es sind die Gilgulim von Jiden. Der die was gehen an in die letzten Jahrhundert zwischen Jiden und Mizrach-Asien. Es ist Tage ein Beweis von einer Zivilisation, was ist kosmopolitisch und stark neugierig. Aber es verliert nicht seinen eigenen Koech, seinen eigenen Geist.